The matrix of leadership, formed from Primus himself, grants the bearer the wisdom of the primes.
But for every force in the universe, there is an equal and an opposite. For every matter, an antimatter.
Legends speak of the Darkspark, the antithesis to the matrix of leadership.
Where the Matrix grants wisdom, the Darkspark empowers its master to bend the very fabric of the universe and its inhabitants to his will.
This is our darkest hour. Cybertron has nearly fallen, and the Autobots are on the verge of defeat.
This is our finest hour. Cybertron is nearly ours, and victory is finally within the Decepticons' grasp.
What's up everyone, Darkblade here with my video review for Transformers Rise of the Darkspark. Developed by Edge of Reality and published by Activision, Rise of the Darkspark was released on June 24th and June 25th, 2014, depending where you lived in the world. It was released for all major systems. This review is from the PlayStation 4 version. Rise of the Darkspark combines the War for Cybertron series with the game series based on the movies, acting as a prequel to Transformers Fall of Cybertron and the film Transformers Age of Extinction. The big question is, can the War for Cybertron series, which was developed by High Moon Studios originally, combine and gel with the video games based on the movies? Well, let's find out. The story of Transformers Rise of the Darkspark is a crossover story and focuses on a relic called the Darkspark. The Darkspark is an antithesis to the Matrix of leadership. Anyone who owns the Darkspark will have the power to bend the universe to their will. I don't want to give too many spoilers away about the story, so I will keep the synopsis to a minimum. The game starts in the movie setting, with the Autobots racing to retrieve the Darkspark against Lockdown and his mercenaries. As things play out, we eventually switch to the Cybertronian setting. In this setting, we are thrown back into the middle of the Cybertronian war between the Autobots and Decepticons. This is before the evacuation of Cybertron on the Ark, which is the events of Fall of Cybertron. Here we follow the two factions racing for the Darkspark, giving us the story of what happened before the Darkspark came to Earth. Eventually though, we do switch back to the movie-based canon for the conclusion of the game. The two stories, in all honesty, could be told completely separate. They did not have to combine them together, as the Darkspark is the only thing that really links them. I must also say that the story that is based in Cybertron is the better, as the movie setting does not have the Decepticons, thanks to the movies ending the war in their canon. I'm a big fan of the Generation 1 and Cybertronian Transformers, so I might be a bit biased here, but I felt that the Cybertronian story had more of the characters from the Transformers universe and felt more familiar. The story is what you would expect from Transformers, with the fate of the universe at stake. Decepticons trying to gain the power and use it for their own uses, while the Autobots trying their best to prevent the Decepticons from gaining that power. It's not the most intellectual, but enjoyable enough. I feel that the story is trying to please both fans of the games and the movies, but it's questionable to if they actually please both. Overall, Transformer fans will probably love this game, and I did in a lot of parts, but others might struggle with the game's story. Fans will love how many Transformers are actually in the game, but newcomers and casual Transformer fans may find themselves lost with the story. The gameplay of Transformers Rise of the Darkspark is almost identical to Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron. Edge of Reality must have used a lot of assets from High Moon Studios to construct this game. The main portion of the game is the single player campaign, with the other part being a multiplayer mode. But we'll talk about the multiplayer mode in a bit. Players will switch between the various Decepticons and Autobots as the story plays out. This can be adjusted in difficulty, as you would expect most games to do. The game plays out in a third-person shooter perspective. You will shoot your way through the majority of the game, dealing a bit of melee damage here and there, and completing simple puzzles. Nothing too special, and that we haven't seen before. But Transformers has an appealing gameplay mechanic of transforming your robot into various vehicles. The vehicles are dependent on which character you are playing though. In vehicle form, you're able to tackle tasks in a different way, giving you a break in gameplay. For example, being a Transformer like Jetfire, will allow you to play levels using your jet form, giving you a lot more options than if you were restricted to fighting on foot. You get a wide variety of weaponry, which all functions well enough. Most of the weapons have seen combat before in previous games too. As you play through both the single player and multiplayer, you will gain experience points and level up. In previous games this was restricted to the multiplayer only. As you progress through the game, you will also complete challenges and tasks. These will unlock crates, which are similar to the packs you would find in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer. These crates unlock characters for the multiplayer, as well as weapons, weapon upgrades, abilities, and consumables. The challenges can be completed multiple times too, so you will always get enough crates in the end. The challenges are a nice change, the shooting works fine, and the transforming is one of the best, most appealing aspects of the game, making the gameplay of Transformers Rise of the Darkspark fine. Moving on to talk about the multiplayer. Escalation mode returns in Transformers Rise of the Darkspark. Escalation mode, for those of you who don't know, is a 4-player co-op wave survival mode. You take control of one of 30 Transformers from both factions and fight to survive as you are pitted against wave after wave of opponents. It is not the most intellectual of modes, but it is fun enough with a group of friends. Being a Transformers fan, playing as 30 of them is a dream. Now, in previous Transformer titles, namely the ones by High Moon Studios, there was also competitive multiplayer modes. These are missing in Rise of the Darkspark, which is a shame, as I can see it being a put-off for some players. You also don't get to create your own Transformer like you did in these previous titles. The graphics of Transformers Rise of the Darkspark are lacking in various places in my opinion. The game was probably made mainly for the PlayStation 3 and 360, but that's just speculation. Anyway, in some areas, especially the environments based on Earth, during the sections based in the movie canon, you can really tell that the environments are bland and lack any life. The look of some of the environments on Cybertron are better, but still feel a bit messy at times. There is a little bit of popping too on the character models at times. Graphic wise, there was nothing game breaking for me. The Transformer models, despite a little bit of popping here and there, were still quite good to look at. I'm a big fan of the look of the Generation 1 and Cybertronian Transformers, and to see them again was a joy. The best aspect of the presentation to me is always the transformation animation, which never gets old. The sound design was very good. The voice acting of Peter Cullen is one of the very best aspects of the whole Transformers franchise. No matter if it's a game or a film, he puts in a performance you would expect and always brings Optimus Prime to life. The rest of the cast do an adequate job. The music and sound effects are also very enjoyable. But I did notice there were one or two tracks reused from previous Transformer games. Overall, I thought Transformers Rise of the Darkspark was okay if you're a Transformers fan. Fans of the films will probably love the film sections but dislike the Cybertronian ones, and vice versa. Fans of the entire franchise though will probably enjoy this game the most, with casual fans finding little to keep them playing. The gameplay could be considered shallow at first glance, but the transforming aspect makes it a joy for me. Graphics is one of the poorest areas of this game, which I'm sad to say. The multiplayer may not be as in-depth as previous titles with the lack of competitive multiplayer, but will add some extra time to the game's lifespan. I found myself playing the single player from around 10 to 12 hours, with a few hours extra added on thanks to the multiplayer. At the end of the day, I enjoyed Rise of the Darkspark. I was a little disappointed that they mixed the two universes together for a crossover game, as it makes it feel more like a movie licensed tie-in game, which is not a good thing. I wish they had just kept to a new Cybertronian canon game. Anyway, I've been Darkblade, bringing you my review of Transformers Rise of the Darkspark. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.
I thought this day would never come.